Hello, I'm Joel Hargis with the Florida Aviation Network. We are here at Sun and Fun 2023, and it is beautiful. If you're planning on coming out, come. It's actually supposed to be beautiful throughout the weekend, and it's lots of great exhibits. I got to get out on the field this morning, and it's just so much to see out here. I'm pretty excited with our next guest. It's Dr. Salazar, and it was funny when I sat down with him. I had not had a chance to chat with you much beforehand, right. And come to find, I thought he was a DME, a medical examiner, designated medical examiner, but he's not. You're a PhD.
I'm a PhD. Thank you for having me here today.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And what's your PhD in?
Computer science and computer technology and education.
Computer science, technology, and education.
Computer science and computer technology and education.
Wow. All right. So that's awesome. And you do a lot of different things.
Yes.
It's funny, as we got to chat here, I'm not sure where I want to start with you. But I guess we'll start. You are helping import, like your shirt said, Blades Over Me,
yeah.
Which is a gyrocopter.
Yeah, I help import gyrocopters and also helicopters, but the main product is gyroplanes, gyrocopters.
Gyroplanes, what's the difference?
It's just the name that the FAA uses for the official name gyroplanes.
So I have been around a gyrocopter a little bit, and I know I have a friend that flies a gyrocopter. He's a gyrocopter instructor, and I love to watch him fly that thing. And it's funny, I find that there are two big schools of thought on those, right? Some people think they're fun, super safe, wonderful aircraft. And then there's the other faction that thinks those things are really dangerous, and I wouldn't get in one of those with a gun to my head.
That is true.
So tell me why people feel each way.
Well, number one, they just remember the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s.
Okay.
And the training wasn't well done correctly, or you didn't find a lot of CFIs for gyroplanes, number one. Then the design of the gyroplane at that time didn't have horizontal stabilizer, so there were a lot of issues with the gyroplanes. And I wanted to start in the 90s, but I decided not to do it because I didn't see that the gyroplanes at that particular time were safe enough.
Ah, so you were in the side of nope, not getting in one of those. Not yet.
And because so, I knew from Juan de la Cierva that they were really safe, and the purpose of the gyroplane, from his point of view, was to create an aircraft that didn't stall and will not spin.
No stall, no spin.
Right, and he can fly slow, and he can, in his case, he created one that was called a jump takeoff.
Jump takeoff.
So you don't have to run on the runway. And that is one of the reasons also.
Like vertical takeoff?
Vertical takeoff.
Like a
jump, yeah.
Helicopter.
Jump like in between 20 to 30 feet, and then you go forward.
No kidding.
Yeah, we don't have that right now, only probably.
I was going to say, I thought all of them took at least like a 100-foot roll or.
Yeah, depending on the wind. Some of them will take more or less.
Grass or pavement.
Yeah.
All that makes a difference. So what was the evolution of safety that made you go from, no, I don't want to do that, to now you're helping import them and sell them, is that right?
Yes. Well, they have changed through the years. From the 2000 to now, they have improved in terms of the stability, in terms of the construction. There are companies that have spent the time doing the engineering and the testing. So they have improved a lot compared to what we had in the old days. For example, the one that I import, we do the designing computers, we do the modeling and simulation.
So that's this one right here?
Yep,
Can I get a camera shot on this, please? So, I don't know if you can see that for our lights. So, if get tight on that maybe. There we go. So, I will tell you it's pretty.
Oh yeah.
And the controls look fairly simple.
Yeah, you have the cyclic and you have the pedals, and then your throttle and your pre-rotation lever.
So how hard are they to fly? Is it like a helicopter?
No, they're not like a helicopter, and they're not like a fixed wing. Okay. You don't rotate and you don't hover.
Okay.
Okay. You need to have the adequate training and the right training to be able to fly that. And the accidents that have been in the past for the last few years has been because of people tend not to get training correctly, or they haven't flown for a while and then they forget and revert that to their fixed wing training or fixed wing memory.
Right.
And that creates then some of the issues that we have today.
So staying current in one is very important.
Right.
And so, so these are experimental. They're all experimental. There are no certified.
Well, there is the Auto Gyro that is the only one in the market right now that is called Type Certified 1, Certificate Type 1, which is the ability for you to purchase that gyroplane assembled from the factory in Europe.
Okay, completely assembled.
Completely assembled.
And they have a Cert Type 1, which
Yeah,
is still...
which is different than the regular certification that you have on the fixed wing or the regular certifications that you have on the helicopters.
And so you got to find a gyrocopter CFI, flight instructor.
Right.
And there's not a whole lot of those around.
Well, they're beginning to have a lot of them, but one of the issues that you encounter today also is the fact that because some of the accidents have created the exit of the insurance company. And so only right now there is only 2 insurance companies that insures gyroplanes. So it gets a little costly. And also the other reason is because the training. So people don't try to get current and then they get into trouble, you know.
So, and so when you get your training, let's say that you were not a fixed wing pilot.
Then you have an initial, depending which initial you want, either private pilot or a sport pilot. So you got.
So they qualify LSA.
They're qualified LSA. So you can buy a gyroplane today that is an experimental, but it meets the requirement of an LSA, so you can fly it as a sport pilot.
As a light sport pilot.
As a light sport
so
pilot.
There is no special gyrocopter rating. It's a fixed wing.
No. It's a special. You are on the rotorcraft category.
Oh, okay.
And the class is gyroplane. So
Okay.
you have rotorcraft category, you have helicopter and gyroplane.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
They have their own category.
Right. You cannot fly a gyroplane with your fixed wing.
Okay. All right. So I learned something there. All right. So you got to have a gyroplane
Plane certificate.
All
Either
right.
a sport pilot, private, or you can even have commercial.
So let's say so in an LSA, how many hours does that take?
The same amount as in the gyroplane. 20 hours is the minimum requirement. Nobody makes it in 20 hours. So the average has been in between 25 to 30 hours
Okay.
for the training.
So a little less than fixed wing.
Well, no, the same amount on fixed wing on the sport pilot area.
Oh, yeah. So LSA, is 20 hours.
Yeah.
And private is 40.
40, they will be the same on the gyroplane as the
Okay.
same on the helicopter.
But they also, you showed me also a new one here.
Yeah, we're introducing a new one on the other side.
That's this one?
Yep.
So
At
here,
the bottom
I'm
of that one,
camera one to go tight on this.
Yeah, we're introducing a new one, which is the same GTL with the option of having 3 passengers or 3 people inside the gyroplane, 1 pilot and 2 passengers. So the pilot sits in the center and the 2 passengers sits in the back.
Okay.
And the only reason we managed to do that today is because we have an engine that was introduced by Rotax this week that is a 916.
And how many horse is that new one?
160.
160 horse.
Yes.
And then
fuel injected turbo.
Turbo fuel injected. All right. I'll tell you, it's awfully good looking. And and I don't have my glasses on to read the fine print, but what kind of weight are we looking at?
Well, if you're looking at the sport pilot category, it will be 1320. If you're looking at the private pilot, then because you have the 916, you can get the maximum weight is 1450.
Okay.
And the gyroplane, that specific model, weighs empty 750. So you have 700 pounds of useful load.
And, 700 pounds of useful load, and how much fuel does it hold?
31.7 gallons, which is close to 5 hours of flying time on a Rotax engine. And you have the option of adding additional fuel tanks on the wings that it has. Probably about 10 more gallons, so it will give you close to 8 hours of flight time.
Yeah, I can't sit in one of those 8 hours.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, golly. So they look like so much fun to fly.
They are.
They really do. But yet it's not an inexpensive toy.
No. The ones that
So
I
the
said-
basic one, what? If
the
I wanted to
basic
go-
one on that one is 160. So
160 grand.
right, and the panel was redesigned, the instrument panel, so more ergonomic, give you more visibility instead of having that bulky panel that we used to have in the past 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago. Now we have a more ergonomic panel, and we're putting EFAS, MFIS, and so you have now one for your airspeed, your altimeter, all those things, and then one for the engine. And we managed to get a manufacturer that puts the radio transponder and the ADSB out in one single unit.
Okay.
So
Radio, transponder, and ADSB.
Out
Yeah.
in
Awesome.
one unit.
That saves weight and space, doesn't it?
Yep.
Well, that's awesome. And so, how long has this been in the USA? Because didn't you say they came from Poland?
Poland, yes. This model just got introduced to the USA, and the first Gyroplane is the one that you see here in Sun and Fun, and it arrived in January 13.
So, pretty new.
Pretty new.
And this new model, is it even here yet?
A guy already purchased one from Texas, and it should be here around the end of July, beginning of August, because we got to wait for the 960
For the
engine.
engines to become available.
Yes.
I get it. I get it. Wow. So, again, they look like so much fun.
The Blades Over Me has a range of gyroplanes. We get this from Poland, and then we have the one from Italy, from Claudio Pagotto. So we have a single-seater, and we have the tandems. And we also redesigned the tandems in 2019, and right now, so far, still the only gyroplane with anti-explosion fuel tanks, bladders.
Okay. Anti-explosion fuel tanks. I wouldn't even have been worried about that until you said it.
Well, to remember some of the accidents, they are certain type of either fiberglass or plastic tanks or aluminum tanks. The aluminum tanks they're not as fragile as the other two when you have a hard landing. So with this one, you're not going to have that issue.
So, how high can a gyrocopter fly?
Well, they're rated, you have to have oxygen if you go more than 10,000 feet.
As in most.
Yeah, I have a friend that broke the high altitude record in the U.S. and I think it was over 14,000 feet
In a gyrocopter.
in a gyroplane.
No kidding. Wow. And how fast of forward momentum in the standard model?
All of them, in terms of the Polands, the VNE is 130 miles an hour. The cruise speed, the maximum cruise speed is 120.
Okay. Well, that's
Not bad.
no. It's actually probably is quicker than most 172s or.
Yeah, but remember, if we get headwind, it doesn't matter. We're going to be really slow.
Right. Well, that's with most.
But the nice
engines.
thing about the gyro is you don't have the issue that you have with the fixed wing when you get turbulence or when you get gusting, that you end up shaking like this. It's not going to happen. Usually when you get down on the gyroplane, we said that we get in free altitude because what the gyroplane tends to do is climb.
Really, when it's turbulence.
When it gets a little bit of turbulence, you slow down the speed so you don't feel much, but it starts climbing a
I'll
little
be
bit.
darned. Very interesting. I've always wanted to go for a ride in one, and so you're out of where? Titusville,
No, I'm at Valkyria Airport, X-59.
which is
It's south of Melbourne. On Grand Valkyria.
Not very far away,
Yeah.
really, from here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, and you are an instructor.
I'm an instructor for gyroplane as pro pilot, yes.
So if I want to go over there and take a ride, I can.
You can come and have some fun.
Yeah. All right. So, like, would an hour ride in a gyrocopter cost? Or
230.
oh, okay. That's not crazy.
No, it's not.
Well, in talking to you, I also learned that you are also a drone pilot expert and instructor.
That is true.
And
And the drone pro for the Orlando Fisto.
the drone pro for the Orlando FSDO, so
Yeah.
you're clued all the way in. And so I was telling you, I actually got my drone license, which is not really hard to do if you're
a pilot.
private pilot.
Yeah.
That's what I did Labor Day weekend. I just literally.
Yeah, if you're Part 61, you go to the FAAsafety.gov, take your test, find an instructor that verifies, and you have a current flight review, and sign you off, and you're now a drone pilot.
Yep, I am.
Doesn't mean that you know how to fly.
That's true. That's true. I have flown drones a little bit, but it's really easy to get if you're a private pilot.
Oh, yes. A private pilot, a sport pilot.
Yeah, pretty easy.
Pretty easy.
And then, if you're nothing, then it's
Then you got to take a written test.
right, an FAA written.
An FAA written test.
Because I can tell you, if you study the materials, yeah, like I say, I did it in a weekend.
Right, and the initial drone pilot, remote pilot, is also not difficult because you got all the material at the FAA website. Now,
Okay.
you really have to study and understand the charts and all those things, which is what it makes it.
Airspace is probably a big one, isn't it?
Right.
Which we know, but
Yeah.
okay. And so I wanted to talk about this, and I did it just basically for grins, but there are a lot of opportunities for drone pilots right now.
Very much so.
I mean, a lot of opportunities to earn
Yeah.
pretty darn good money.
Yes.
And so, because I know, didn't you say you teach at a university?
Yeah, I teach at Florida Institute of Technology and
FIT.
FIT, and one of the nice thing about FIT is one of the few universities that it has the minor, but the advanced course that is called Commercial Drone Operation is a hands-on course. It's not a theory, it's none of those things. So what they're doing is going to a drone lab that we have at the university, in which they learn how to fly the drone, learn all the maneuvers, get everything acquainted and how to do the different flight operations within that lab with no wind.
Right.
And then after a month and a week, we'll go then outside and practice all of those things, filming a commercial, simulating a concert and filming the concert, learning how to do power line inspection. So we go to some of the power lines there.
Really? You teach all that?
Yeah.
Because you just went through a couple of the best opportunities for drone pilots.
We also,
Outside events.
Outside
and
event.
working for a power company.
We also teach how to do mapping, search and rescue, agriculture.
And beyond line of sight.
And also the principle of beyond line of sight.
Because in a basic drone license, you cannot do that.
No, you got to get a waiver on a
Right. And so how long does that program take at FIT?
Well, at FIT, that program takes 2 terms. You get the first course, which is all the regulations and all of the technology and talking about the software and all those things in there. And at the same time, if I happen to get pilots already, things they have to go and take the test because I force them to become a member of the FAAsafety.gov.
Yep.
So they go there, take all the tests. So what I do is I replace some of the course tests that we have for the FAA test, which is also more or less the same. Why not?
Absolutely.
And what they gain then for those that are pilots, when they pass that course that is online, they become then a remote pilot. So I sign them off because I'm a CFI.
Perfect. So when you say 2 terms, is that 2 semesters?
2 semesters, yes.
So in 1 year?
Yeah.
Wow, see, I'll tell you folks, that is not a bad thing to think about because like power companies, for instance, are looking for drone pilots, absolutely looking, and they pay pretty well and have wonderful benefits.
Oh, yes. I did a lot of work for some of them with a friend of mine.
Yep.
For some of the power companies.
And of course, they're used for real estate a lot. That's pretty easy. But outside entertainment filming.
Well, and also one of the things that you're going to find out in South Florida, which some of the friends that I have and I were doing, we also were doing building inspection and roof inspection. Because now some of the insurance companies don't want to send the individual into the roof.
Right.
Because, now you got an insurance, you got a liability. Why don't you go and send a drone and do all that work?
Piece of cake in a drone.
Piece of cake
I
on
mean,
a
it
drone.
really is.
Yeah.
They're a lot of fun. Like I said, I got to play with one last
Now,
summer.
you really have to be safe because the drone is not the same as an airplane in terms of sustaining the wing.
Oh,
so
yeah. It'll blow away, won't it?
Yeah. So one of the things that I teach at the university is winds around obstacles. And I have a program
Right.
that I use that is Wind Flow. It's a simulation program that I design a bunch of buildings, airports, and things like that for them to realize what the wind will do when it's moving in between buildings, tall buildings, small buildings, different. So they understand then how am I going to fly that drone to be able to do that inspection.
I remember that was actually part of my course that when I took it, it talked about winds and obstacles and buildings and that kind of stuff. Well, we're getting short on time here, Doc. You're pretty fascinating.
Thank you.
I mean,
Well,
from gyrocopters to drones.
And the thing is that FIT is pretty open in terms of getting the technology and working with the technology. And during that course also I teach them how to do the programming, the basic programming.
That is awesome. Well, and like I say, we're just about out of time here. And where can they reach you?
Well, the website is bladesoverme.com.
Bladesoverme.com.
And the email is raul@bladesoverme.com.
Raul@bladesoverme.com. All right.
Very simple.
Well, thanks for coming in and,
Thank you
and
very much
sharing
for
this
having
with
me.
us. I like to say, I may be over there to take a gyroplane ride with you.
Yeah.
And
You have a chance to stop by the booth and you can see the gyroplane.
I may very well do that. And I also will be sending some drone students to you, I think.
Okay.
So I am Joel Hargis with the Florida Aviation Network here at Florida Sun and Fun 2023. Stay tuned. We got more stuff coming.